You won't believe what happened on Reddit today. My mother-in-law handed me a check for $500, told me it was life-changing money, and then had the audacity to be shocked when I burst out laughing. For context, my husband, 31-year-old man, and I, 29-year-old woman, have been saving for a house down payment for 5 years. We both work full-time but live in a high cost-of-living area, so it's been a brutal grind in our tiny apartment. My husband's sister, Chloe, 27-year-old woman, is the undeniable golden child. Anything she wants, she gets. Last Sunday, my mill called a big family dinner. She was beaming and announced she had decided to give the kids their inheritance early to help them get started in life. Then, she pulled out a portfolio and proudly announced she had just put a $150,000 down payment on a beautiful 4-bedroom house for Chloe. There were tears, hugs, and applause. We clapped too, though it stung. Then my mill turned to us with a grand, magnanimous smile. She slid a crisp, white envelope across the table. "And for you too," she said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "a little something to help you get on your feet." My husband opened it. Inside was a check for $500. $500. I looked at the check, then at my mill's self-satisfied face, and I just lost it. I didn't mean to, but a loud, almost hysterical laugh escaped me. It wasn't a small chuckle, it was a full-on, wheezing laugh. The whole table went silent. My mill's face went from pride to pure fury. "What is so funny?" she hissed. I couldn't stop laughing, but I managed to gasp out, $500? You call this getting on our feet after you just bought her a house? This isn't a gift, it's a slap in the face. It's the tip you'd leave for a good waiter. Chloe started crying. My FIL told me I was being ungrateful and cruel. We just got up and left. My husband is 100% on my side, but our phones have been blowing up ever since. His entire family is calling me a materialistic, dramatic brat who embarrassed everyone. They claim the $150,000 was from a separate fund just for Chloe, and the $500 was all they could spare for us. And I should have just said thank you and kept my mouth shut. So Reddit, am I the a-hole for my reaction? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. You won't believe what happened on Reddit today. My husband Liam, 32-year-old man, found my secret bank account yesterday, and the life I, 29-year-old woman, have carefully built for the last 7 years is completely shattered. He was looking for a tax document in my desk and found a statement for a high-yield savings account with a balance of $82,451.17, an account he never knew existed. The look on his face was a mix of pure shock and betrayal. His first question, whispered so quietly it terrified me, was, "Are you leaving me?" His second was, "Are you cheating on me?" I wish it were that simple. I had to sit him down and tell him the truth I've been hiding since the day we met. I've always told Liam that I came from a humble, middle-class family. I told him my dad was a property manager and that we were comfortable, but not wealthy. That was a carefully constructed lie. My father doesn't just manage property. My family owns one of the most notorious and predatory, reign out the a-hole empires in our home state. They are slumlords, plain and simple. The money in that account is my inheritance, or what my father calls my monthly dividend. Every month since I turned 21, he has deposited $2,000 into that account. It's hush money. It's the price for my silence and complicity. It's the money they make from broken heating systems in January, from black mold they paint over, and from evicting single mothers who are a week late on rent. I've always been disgusted by it, and I've never touched a single cent. My plan was to save it and one day donate it all to a housing charity, a sort of pathetic attempt at balancing the scales. When I finally finished explaining, sobbing so hard I could barely speak, Liam didn't hug me. He just stood up and looked at me with cold disgust. He said, "So, for our entire marriage, you've been living off blood money? You didn't reject it, you didn't give it back. You saved it." He told me I was a hypocrite, that I was just as guilty as they were for taking the checks. He packed a bag and is now staying at his brother's. He won't answer my calls. He said he doesn't know the person he married. Part of me knows he's right, but another part feels like he abandoned me at my most vulnerable moment. Was I wrong to hide this, to take the money I never planned to keep? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. You won't believe what happened on Reddit today. My husband booked a one-way flight home and left me stranded at Denpasar Airport with his expired passport in my hand. I 28-year-old woman and my husband, Leo 32-year-old man, just finished a 2-week dream trip through Bali. We saved for years for this. Everything was perfect until we got to the airport check-in for our flight home. The agent looked at Leo's passport, then at him, and said, "Sir, I can't let you fly. This expired 3 months ago." My blood ran cold. Leo had renewed his passport last year, but had not the a-holily packed his old, cancelled one. His valid one was sitting in a drawer 8,000 miles away. Panic set in. We were immediately escorted away from the counter. Leo started pacing, running his hands through his hair. "How could you let this happen?" He hissed at me. I was stunned. "How is this my fault?" I asked. He shot back. "You booked everything. You were in charge of the documents." We've always had a system where I handle logistics because I'm more organized, but I never thought I had to double-check my grown husband's passport. The argument got worse. We needed to go to the embassy in Jakarta, book new flights, and get an emergency travel document which would take days and cost a fortune. I checked our joint account for the $2,000 we'd set aside for emergencies. There was only $400 left. My heart sank. "Leo, where's the money?" He wouldn't look at me. "I used it for that upgraded surf lesson and the private dinner last week. I was going to pay it back." That's when he stopped arguing and went quiet, furiously tapping on his phone. A few minutes later, he looked at me, his face blank. "I've booked a flight," he said. "For me, it was $1,200. It took the last of my credit." I just stared at him, speechless. He said, "I can't miss work on Monday. It's a huge week. You can figure this out. You're the planner, right?" He shoved his expired passport into my hand, grabbed his bag, and walked away without another word. I just stood there, watching him get into a taxi. So now I'm alone in a hotel near the airport with $400, a useless passport that isn't mine, and a husband who abandoned me on the other side of the world. His family is texting me asking if we're okay, and I don't know what to say. Am I wrong for thinking that this is a marriage-ending act? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. You won't believe what happened on Reddit today. My sister, 34-year-old woman, is demanding I 30-year-old woman give her my dog because her son is sad. And I'm just a single woman who doesn't need him. I got my golden retriever, Cheddar, 3 years ago. He is, without exaggeration, my entire world. I've spent over $5,000 on his training, vet bills, and specialized food. He's not just a pet, he's my family. My sister Jenna and her husband are going through a very messy divorce. It's been awful for everyone, especially my nephew Leo, 8-year-old man. Leo has always adored Cheddar, and I've always been happy to have them visit. But recently, things took a sharp turn. Last week, Jenna called me, crying. She said Leo wasn't sleeping and was asking for Cheddar constantly. Then she dropped the bomb. She wanted Cheddar to come live with them permanently. I was stunned. I politely said no, explaining that Cheddar is my dog and moving him would be traumatic for him and for me. She didn't take it well. "You don't get it," she said. "Leo is a child going through trauma. You just have a dog. He needs Cheddar more than you do." The real showdown happened yesterday. Jenna showed up at my apartment unannounced with Leo. The second I opened the door, Leo ran in and buried his face in Cheddar's fur, sobbing. It was heartbreaking. Jenna looked at me with this pleading, desperate expression and said, "Look at them. How can you deny him this? You work all day. Cheddar would have a yard and a little boy to love him 24/7. I knelt down and explained to Leo that Cheddar was my dog and had to stay with me, but he could visit anytime. Jenna lost it. She started yelling that I was being unbelievably selfish, prioritizing a furry accessory over my own nephew's me not the a-holal health. She said I couldn't possibly understand because I'm not a mother. She dragged a crying Leo out of my apartment, and my phone immediately started blowing up. My mom called, saying I was tearing the family apart and that I should at least loan Cheddar to them for a few months. My dad says Jenna is manipulating me. I feel like a monster for making a little boy cry, but the thought of giving up my dog, even for a week, makes me physically ill. Am I the asshole for keeping my dog? What do you think? Let me know in the comments.